First Sergeant Kep here again with Company D, 2nd United States Sharpshooters. Welcome back to our continuing series of how to clean an 1859 Sharps rifle. In the first part, which we have the link to in our description, we talked about cleaning the barrel and the receiver of the rifle. And if you have any questions about the items that we're using in our cleaning kit, we also have a link to that video in the description. If you're enjoying these videos, please be sure to like and subscribe. Now we are going to move along into the cleaning of the block of the Sharps rifle. In the first video, we took apart our block and we started soaking it in boiling hot water in a bucket I have here underneath the table. So we're ready to clean it. And I'm going to make sure I have my gloves on. I'm going to bring this bucket up so I don't have to bend over while I do it. Now when we get to this part, we want to make sure we have everything laid out and ready to go. I have my phosphor bronze brush for some scrubbing. I got my nylon brush for additional cleaning. I have my straight pick for getting into all the nooks and crannies. And we have our cone in there. And one thing that we really like to use is welding files for cleaning inside the cone. Some of you may have your thoughts about that, but as long as you do it delicately and quickly, all it does is break off any built up powder residue or contaminants from inside. You can buy these really cheaply. Sometimes your flash hole in the cone will be big enough to fit a bristly pipe cleaner through and scrub it that way. Either way, the inside of that has to be clean. So this is still really hot. We are going to pull out some paper towels to make sure we don't make our work surface too dirty. And we have all of our parts nicely heated. And glove up and start scrubbing. If you take care of it, this whole process goes pretty quickly, taking our time for instructional purposes to show you the ins and outs and how-tos and why of what we do and how we do it. There's nothing wrong with buying used Sharps. We have quite a few people in our unit who have bought many used Sharps from online websites and online auction sites. But if you ever come across a problem, like maybe your block just wasn't cared for that much, one thing we've had to do, we had one block that was completely packed full of black powder from years of neglect and improper cleaning, that what I did was I disassembled the block, as we did in the first video, as best as I could. At that time, the cleaning screw was still seized into position. And sometimes you just can't get it out. You can take it to a gunsmith and they can help you with that. Worst case scenario, they'll have to drill it and maybe tap it and you can get a replacement screw. But we disassembled this and I stuck it in a mason jar of hydrogen peroxide. For many black powder shooters, hydrogen peroxide is an old friend, as it breaks down on the natural matter that's in black powder. And over time, as it sat, the hydrogen peroxide would bubble out all the black powder residue from inside these nooks and crannies and into the flash hole and deposit in the bottom of the glass. It made a huge difference. We were able to get in and clean more and clean deeper, and we got it functioning. The important thing is if you choose to use hydrogen peroxide for cleaning black powder residue, it will oxidize any metal surfaces that aren't treated very quickly. So once you soak, and clean, and scrub, make sure to oil those previously soaked parts as quickly as possible to prevent any corrosion. Now in the Sharps rifle, we usually start up here on the top and kind of work our way in. We take our straight pick, and there's usually a slight curve or an indentation at the base of this hole where the cone threads in, and you dig around. Sometimes that black powder residue really clings on there, and that's also why we soak it in the boiling hot water, so it softens it up, it loosens it up, and it speeds up our process. Then we stick it into the clean out hole. Always, like I said, always remove that clean out screw so you clean all the way through. And that way when you're shooting your rifle, the flash from the primer can go efficiently, without restriction, all the way through the block. You dig around, dig around, dig around, and then give it some dunks. Break up anything that you managed to free up. And you can see already from the soaking that this is already just about ready to go. Don't be afraid to kind of dig in there. And coming back in through this way, really try to scrape your sides there. Make sure there's no little Klingons down in there. Now, another way is you get some Q-tips and you can wipe out anything that builds up on the threads. Cannot forget your threads. So you don't want those corroding and getting weak or seizing your equipment, because it could make for an unsafe firearm. These Q-tips are fantastic for all these little tunnels and alleyways that you have in a sharps block. Once you get most of it, you can kind of go in with your bristly pipe cleaner. See, we still got lots of residue in there. This really helps scrape all those parts that either the pick can't reach, and it helps soak up any additional residue. Now sometimes, especially in the field clean, what will happen is you'll break off so much residue that you'll end up clogging your block. And that is why we spend the $1 or $2 for a few plastic syringes and fill them up with our boiling hot water. And we squirt it through the top of the block so it can flow freely. And if the water can flow freely, then we know that our flash can as well. And that is just about clean. Everything else that we get afterwards we'll wipe off with patches and various solvents. This is nice and hot. We have our boar butter. We're going to go ahead and start get the block seasoned. And during the field clean, since we're only shooting blanks and we're only fake killing Johnny Reb, the barrel doesn't get as much attention. We don't boil the barrel anymore when we reenact. A few reenactors, they just want to kick back around the fire in the evening and do a full breakdown. They usually do. Out in the field, it usually takes about an hour or so. But what we usually do in the field is we take the block out, break it down, and stick it in our fry spider in the bucket over the roaring fire and let it soak. And then while that's cooking and soaking and cleaning up, we take our canteens and pour water through the breech of the rifle onto the ground until it starts to come out clear, which is usually about half a canteen. And that breaks out most of the stuff, so we don't have to go through so many patches. Then we'll usually take some ballistol, squirt a little bit on some patches, run it through the barrel through it's clean, hit the outside with the ballistol to get rid of any residue, prevent corrosion, and provide some protection for the rifle overnight. Then we'll take either the bronze brush or the nylon brush in the hot water. We'll give the receiver area a quick little scrub, dry it off with some patches, hit it with a little bit of Wonder Lube, or Super Lube, and that part of the rifle's done. What we found by just seasoning the block is that if this is seasoned, it won't seize. I'm not saying it will never seize, but after all the shooting that our company does, we haven't had that problem yet. So now we also have the smaller pieces they cool a little faster. We have the cone with the brush, the metal brush. Go ahead and scrub this up real nice. Really likes to dig into the threads, and I just dropped that. That's why you have your frying spider. There we go. And didn't burn my hand. It only takes a few times doing that before you realize, like, you know, $6 might be a good investment. So now this is all scrubbed up, all clean, ready to go. And we go through our little file collection. Like I said, you're not trying to make your hole any bigger. You're just trying to scrub out the insides. That's it. Then sometimes you take a pick, because you'll get a wall of material built up on the inside of your cone. Again, the hot water really helps clean that out. Take some Q-tips and some pipe cleaners, and you just keep cleaning away at it until your pipe cleaner comes out nice and clean. So yeah, you go through a lot of pipe cleaners. So generally, you know, just buy your stuff in bulk. You'll be sharing it with your buddies, and once they start seeing how well your rifle's turning out and how good it's looking, they'll be wanting to learn from you. Everything else is pretty quick and simple. You got you got your little flash here, stainless steel. This goes really fast. If you have stainless steel in your rifle, you can pretty much just use a rifle cleaner of your choice, Ballistol. Sometimes you'll notice right here, if this part of your rifle comes out, you'll get a nasty wall of powder residue in there that usually doesn't want to come out without some persuasion. And with that all scrubbed up, again, take your pipe cleaner, go through here. Remember, the flash, where this pipe cleaner is right now, the flash comes through. The cone's up here, flash comes 90 degree right through here, 90 degree right out the front. You take your pipe cleaner, hit the inside, and then wipe it off on a patch or a paper towel while it's still warm. Now, this is one of those ones one of those pieces you don't want to get a whole lot of boar butter inside of, because once this hardens, you could block off your flash path. Set that aside. Everything else is pretty straightforward. Just wipe it down, get it clean, put some boar butter on it. Only the core of the block really gets a ton of residue. We have the famous, or sometimes notorious, clean out screw. Always give this special attention. And sometimes you may even want to put some anti-seize on the threads to make sure you can always get it out. Always very little boar butter on that. Some other pins and parts we stuck in there. Give it a nice little scrub. And those, we have our little face plate. This one was a nylon brush. Black powder doesn't really stick that aggressively to stainless. You want all your parts moving freely, inside, outside. Never be afraid to go through your patches. And you can see how, with proper care, how long this could take you reenacting. Sitting on your gum blanket by the fire, cleaning all these parts separately. When I first started, I would do a full breakdown, and you know, sometimes, you know, hanging out with people or working with the public, it would take me up to 2 hours to finish cleaning my sharps to an acceptable level for me. And we wanted to speed that up so we can have more time to work with the public. Everything else is kind of up to you. If you want to stick it in the boiling water, a little gun cleaner. You can use Ballistol in your nylon brush. I like it. It smells a little weird. But for all your other sort of screws and threads, this stuff is a fantastic cleaner. You clean everything up, hit it up, make sure everything's nice and oiled, cleaned. And remember, you can use more solvent or more boar butter while you're cleaning it. Better use too much while you're cleaning it, because you can always wipe it off, and that's the trick. You have to wipe this stuff off. You don't want to, see some videos out there, some instructions. People will just go to town cleaning everything, and they'll just leave tons of cleaners just sitting on their stocks or on their metal, and that is not good. Your rifle should be dry and ready to go. We've got our front side. This, if you neglect it, will build up a lot of powder underneath it, or it'll be a home to corrosion if you don't remove it very often when you scrub your barrel. So now all the small pieces are clean. Wipe out the inside of your barrel bands. A lot of reenactors like to use the canvas gun sleeves to keep their rifles in. Again, that's one area I really compromise on historical authenticity. I keep mine in a plastic foam-filled gun box, so I keep the moisture out. If you keep your rifle in one of those sleeves, you have to keep in mind that the canvas breathes, and if it breathes, it will invite or withhold moisture, and that moisture will react and cause corrosion with your rifle. That's why sometimes you'll see people clean their rifles and they're beautiful and spotless, and the next morning, after having their rifle in one of those canvas gun sleeves, the whole outside will be orange with surface rust if they have a used rifle or it's just seen a lot of time. So the boar butter really helps provide an extra barrier if you do use that over a lot of other solvents. Balsol, is great on your wood. You can really use this stuff for just about everything, as long as you use everything in moderation. And now this has been sitting. One thing I wanted to show you, in our first video, I demonstrated the gas sleeve removal tool, and since it was so dirty, it wouldn't come out. But now that it has been soaked, it has been scrubbed and swabbed and buttered, your chances of pulling this out to clean around it are far better. So you insert the tool, and it has this upper arm. You twist it around until it tightens in the sleeve, and just like that, it comes out. Sometimes you may have to tap it and pull on it and wiggle it, and then it'll come out. And then once it's out, you loosen it, and you remove the tool, and you clean around the outside. And then once this is all done, you'll run some more clean patches through it. You want to keep inserting patches until they come out perfectly clean. What I like to do is sometimes we'll be cleaning 12 or 13 rifles at a time. You can go through a lot of patches, so you can flip your patches over to the clean side and get a little more life out of them. So now going back to the barrel, we still have to reassemble everything, but while we're reassembling, we're going to add some Blue Wonder to get our barrel to a mirror shine, because nothing makes a first sergeant happier at inspection arms than a barrel with a mirror shine. So you just work that in there. You want to get that Blue Wonder cleaner all the way down and all the rifling. And you set it aside. So just like that, you have your block scrubbed, your block seasoned, all the parts scrubbed and cleaned, oiled, and they're covered in a lot of oil. In our next video, we are going to reassemble the rifle, wipe everything down, and be sure to ask any questions or share any comments in the comment section down below. If you like these videos, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you have any more information about Civil War reenacting, or maybe joining Company D, or more about Sharps Care, please visit our website at www.2nduss.com.